I'm joined this evening by the new radio voice of the Connecticut Tigers, Mr. Chris Jones. Chris, welcome to the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Gary. Excited to be on the program.
It's my pleasure to have you, Chris. This is your first year behind the mic for the Connecticut Tigers, and in your short, brief 2 weeks, how have you found it so far?
Oh, man, it's been a great experience to this point. Prior to this, the only regular action that I've done in terms of day in, day out calling ball games was in the Cape Cod League last year with the Bourne Braves. But it's just been a great experience. It's a bit of a grind. We got in at 5 a.m. this morning back home, and so I didn't settle into my bed until about 5:30, and then was back at the ballpark at about at 10:30. So it's running on a little bit of short sleep, but that's what you sign up for when you join the minor leagues. So I'm excited and ready to go. It should be a fun series before we play you guys down in Brooklyn, which should be awesome because I've never been to. Being a Northeast kid, I've never been to Coney Island, so that's something to check off the bucket list. But a first place Lowell Spinners team coming to town tonight, so it should be fun.
And you mentioned the Low Spinners, and they're off to a really good start. And if you get a chance, say hello to my friend John Leahy from me. He was on the show last year, and we keep in contact a little bit on Facebook. So just tell him I said hello. Now,
will do.
Chris, you're also handling the media relations. So what added responsibility is that, and how does that play into all your time with getting prepared for the broadcast as well as handling requests and everything? That's got to complicate matters as well.
Oh, absolutely. I've done UConn baseball games for the past 5 or 6 years, and just for that, you're primarily just focused on broadcasting. So the preparation is much more extensive, and then also with college baseball, you're only playing 3 games on a weekend and then maybe 1 or 2 midweek games. So there's a lot more time in order to prepare. I found out here in the first couple weeks with all my added responsibilities for media relations, the broadcast, it doesn't really get put on the back burner, but it's definitely not the main focus anymore. Even throughout the game, I have to tweet during the games. So in between innings, I'm focusing on that instead of focusing on what I want to talk about for the broadcast the next inning. So it's kind of, a juggling act, and I'm still, trying to juggle all those balls in the air. And I think I'll, as we move forward, and if I talk to you probably in August or September, I'll have a better handle of it. But right now it's kind of, looking at, the Twitter or writing the game story during the game. So you have that ready to go and ready to send out to all the media outlets right when the game is over. So it's definitely different, but I've enjoyed the learning experience here through the first 2 weeks, and definitely learning my fair share.
I don't think people realize how much work it actually is, getting prepared for the game, and as you say, handling your other responsibilities. And we talk about the New York Penn League and the grind it is for the players over this short period of time, 78 games, but it's all condensed into, 90 days or whatever.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And it's just the biggest of a grind for the announcers and a lot of the people working with the club. Now, you are handling all the duties. Are you traveling on all the road games or certain road games?
Yes, I will be on all 76 games, and then hopefully, if we're able to, the postseason as well. So that should be that even adds to the workload as well, because I know not all the broadcasters in the New York Penn League do that.
Right, a lot of them don't travel, and they stay, do either the home games or some rather local games to the area. But that's even more of a grind. So good. By the end of the year, you'll be a seasoned veteran.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about the Tigers a little bit, Chris. You're off to a 6-5 start, not the best, but Lowell is off to a sensational start at 9-2, and they've really been hitting on all cylinders so far. But you've got some guys in there, some good players, a couple of them in the top 10 and top 5 of players among the New York Penn League leaders, and One guy that pops to mind is Joey Haverlack, who has got 2 homers and 8 RBIs in the top 5 in that category early in the season. But he struggled a little last year, but this year he seems to have found his way a little bit better.
Oh man, he is. You can just tell he's locked in at the plate. He's getting a lot of fastballs and he's doing damage early in the count with them. I gotta think second time through, or once he starts seeing teams more often, they're gonna go with some more soft stuff with him. But it seems like even then, he's been able to pick up his base hits. I think the updated stat on him, which is interesting, left on left, which usually is extremely tough for a left-handed hitter. I think he's 7 for 9 or 8 for 10 in those situations. So even that doesn't seem to bother him here in the early going. So hopefully Joey can keep it going. And he's been one of our biggest contributors. I was kind of shocked because we were off to a great start after our Game 1 win against Aberdeen. The team was settled in at 6-3, and winning solves a lot of problems. And I looked at the stats, and we were in the bottom 3 in team batting average and in the bottom 3 in team ERA, and somehow we were 6-3. So I think the team has been able to convert on other teams' mistakes, walks, free 90s, errors. Whenever those have come up, the team has been able to find ways to score runs. So it hasn't been pretty, but over 500, and that's all you can ask for through 11 games, with 8 of them being on the road.
That's not bad at all, and your pitching's been pretty decent as well. Victor Muesis, I think that's how you say it. He's 2-0 with a 2.08 ERA, and the bullpen's been pretty decent with Eduardo Jimenez, who's got 2 saves. He's in the top 5, and Yordi Cabrera's got 1 save. So you've got, as you say, it's been a team effort so far.
Yeah, absolutely. And with these younger arms, it's very similar, especially with all these guys coming out of college signing. It's very similar to the college game, where there are times where you'll see a bunch of strikeouts in terms of pitching, and then there are times where these guys, they lose their command. So the walks have been a huge issue that the Tigers bullpen especially has had to work around. But they also have that nasty stuff where they can pick up strikeouts in key situations. So it's been very intriguing to watch in terms of not a lot of balls put in play, either getting strikeouts or walks, but they've been able to get the job done, at least so far.
Well, and that's part of the situation in the New York Penn League. These young guys, it's a lot of raw talent, and that's why they're here. They're here to learn, and it really is amazing to watch as they progress through the system. But you mentioned some young guys, and I notice, if I'm correct, you have like 12 draft picks from this year's draft. Is that roughly correct?
Yeah, we just got, I think we're at 13 now. We had 8 during the Brooklyn series, and then we got 5 more when we were down in Aberdeen. So I think the total is at 12 or 13, right around there. Yeah, not all of them have played yet, but we saw a 4th-round pick, Kyle Funkhauser, last night, and he didn't have his A stuff in terms of his fastball is usually 93 to 94, but he's thrown so many innings with Louisville that he may be, a little tired, and he was probably 90 to 91, but he still was carving up bats and only allowed 2 hits and no runs. So that was exciting to see, such a highly touted prospect. And at least in my mind, he's not a 4th-round pick. He's a first-round talent, and just happened being a senior and struggling a little bit that, the scouts and teams kind of held off and waited until the 4th round to select him.
Now, have you found that it's been a little bit of a struggle with working in some of these guys? For instance, with the Cyclones, I went opening day, and it's now the roster is like completely different. Just about, they had a lot of fillers. Now guys are filtering in. They're starting to play a little bit better. But I was wondering if Connecticut is going through that same kind of thing where, you started the year and then these guys came filtering in and in some cases, they really came in like a deluge when they got signed, and all of a sudden you got a whole new team.
Yeah, no, we already we got, as I mentioned, we have our 13 signees, and you mentioned a guy like Victor Moises. He's already down with GCL again, so he's not even with the ball club. There's a bunch of guys that have been younger guys that have been sent down to kind of continue to learn, and then possibly can be back up later. But yeah, we're still getting to know. It seems like every few days we're getting new jersey numbers and new guys, shaking hands and meeting them. So I think it's going to settle down here over the next few weeks or so. But definitely has been kind of a line shift in terms of like a hockey term of guys just kind of jumping over the boards and getting in the game, and then getting a new line out there, and other guys' experience.
I have to say that's a great analogy. The hockey, that's exactly the way it has been, and of course the College World Series is still going, and
yep,
is probably one or two guys on your list, as with the Cyclones that are still playing. So they have to conclude and sign and have their physical and get there. So, but I think you're right. I think it is starting to even out now and get to be more consistent.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with that. And we have, I think we have one guy, Coastal. We have Alex Cunningham, who he may even be pitching tonight or tomorrow in the College World Series if Coastal can push it to a third game. Mm-hmm. So I think he's one of the few guys left. I know Jacob Robson. I think he's a 6th or 7th round pick out of Mississippi State. He's a Canadian, so he's trying to get his work visa right now. He's a potential guy that we could see here over the next few weeks or so. I don't know if we'll see a high school guy, Matt Manning, 1st round pick. Typically, at least from what I've heard, though I haven't been around the organization long, they do not bring up high school pitchers specifically to the New York Penn League to pitch. So if he does come, that would be a nice surprise. But our highest pick would probably be Funkhauser, 4th round, because the Tigers did not have a 2nd or 3rd round pick this year.
All right, and you got a new hitting coach this year in minor league home run king, Mike Hessman. Have you had a chance to talk with him, and what kind of guy is he?
Oh, man, he is just one of the best. Great to talk to. A little bit more soft-spoken than I would think of a guy who hit so many home runs in the minor leagues and was able to hit some home runs in the major leagues as well. But, yeah, great guy. Definitely some interesting stories already, and I'm sure we're only going to hear a bunch more as we move along through the season and everyone gets even more comfortable with one another. So it's been great to meet him and great to meet all of our coaches. Ace Adams is just a hoot. He's our pitching coach. He's been around baseball for 30 years, an assistant at Michigan, and bounced around in terms of minor league teams that he's coached for. So it's a great coaching staff.
And, Chris, I want to thank you for coming on today, and good luck to you in your first season, and good luck to the Connecticut Tigers. They'll be in town on July the 1st to play the Brooklyn Cyclones, so everybody go out and see there, and if you see Chris walking around, say hi.
Thank you, Gary. Appreciate it.
Okay.